and welcome to another episode of Geeks Who Like Sports Live. As always, I am Ray Carso in beautiful Los Angeles, California. My best friend in the entire world over in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Lee Elias. Lee, how are you doing today?
We didn't even say the episode number. It's episode 122.
It's episode 122. It's episode 122.
Do you know what that means? 1.22 gigawatts. It's not 21, but I didn't do it last week, so I had to do it this week.
Not quite there yet.
What the hell is a gigawatt? Hey, look, man, I'm doing great. Weather's cooled off over here. I'll be honest with you, Ray. This is the highlight of my day. I love my work very much, but work's been very, very, very busy lately, and this is my way of calming down is by doing another podcast. No, this is my favorite show to do. You know that.
Yes, I'm in the same boat. Work has been very, very busy lately as well. And it's also still very warm out here. Right. I went for a walk that took a lot out of me. But like you mentioned, Lee, we're watching What If right before we started the show. So we are fresh. We are ready to go.
Literally finished it 5 minutes before we went live.
Yes, exactly. We're ready to go. We are ready to go. And if you're listening to after the fact, if you're not joining us here live, of course, we appreciate you just as much. We do appreciate anybody who listens to us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on anywhere, anyhow, iHeartRadio, all that stuff. We are all on those wonderful, wonderful outlets. But if you're here live with us on Twitch, we got a great one for you. Of course, today we're doing a full NFL season preview. We're talking Baseball Hall of Fame. We got more stupid soccer stories. We've got wrestling to talk about. We've got some movie trailers and stuff. Some folks are just starting to join the chat. Casey's here. We got some questions here. Dom wants to know if I'm going to play Madden this year when it joins Game Pass, Dom, because I'm not dropping $70, another terrible game. No video game news really this week because after the show, much like the NFL season's kicking off tomorrow, Sony is finally having a press conference. We were talking about this in the pre-show on Twitch. It's been the summer of Xbox. Can Sony respond with everything they've been doing with Game Pass, with their announcements, with cloud gaming, with everything they've got coming down the pike? Xbox has really been dominating the news cycle. Can Sony finally answer? I mean, they've got their exclusives
I'll tell you exactly what they're going to do to answer. They're going to go back to their bag of tricks, be like, "Ooh, Uncharted, God of War." It's going to be the same 5 titles we've seen for the last 20 years. Two things with that. Nothing wrong with that. I'm actually not making fun of them for that because they are great, right? Ooh, Spider-Man. All right. And then they're going to make, and here is our biggest, newest, revolutionary Sony thing. Game passes where we show you all the games we make. No, it's going to be some Sony Pass. Look, I expect, let me put it this way. If they don't release something like that tomorrow, I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm going to call it that Xbox wins fatality at that point.
Yeah. So it's going to be very interesting to see what ends up, what Sony does, because right now Microsoft has all the momentum. Sony's still both are selling units hands over fist, right? Like both are selling hotcakes. There's still a chip shortage out there, so I know there's still folks out there who are struggling to find systems. Not me. I
Ray
did not scalp them either. But
Ray, Microsoft has Sony by the cartridges.
There you go. That's a great way of putting it.
It's a gaming channel. I see what I did.
Yes, indeed.
All right, if you're listening,
folks in chat. Yeah, Casey, there is an Uncharted movie supposedly coming with Tom Holland. That's still a ways away. I mean, so JJ, they're going to probably we already know what they're going to talk about, right? Horizon 2, Spider-Man 2, God of War 2, 5 or 2 in this new trilogy.
Loki's return. Thor's return, whatever.
It's we know it is. They're gonna, like Lee said, they're gonna come up with the greatest hits. Is that gonna be enough? It's gonna be curious to see what happens.
It's gonna be enough for Sony fans. Then they're gonna talk about how awesome it is.
Yes. Right.
I wonder if they announce anything with Ghost of Tsushima. Probably not.
They just did a director's cut with that. Actually.
I will admit this. All of the Sony exclusives are games I wish I could play. I really mean that. It's not enough for me to buy a PlayStation just yet. Ray has to do that for work. God bless you. But look, they're going to do the greatest hits. I always love Sony because they're like, oh, okay, Disney, you want to do Thor and Loki? Well, guess what? There's no IP on that because it's from great mythology. So we can do it in our video games too.
There you go.
Spider-Man movies, Venom movies, Sony. What are you doing, Disney? Disney's like, I'm sorry, who are you?
Yeah. Disney's focusing on trying to buy WWE right now. So that's a whole different story.
Disney's not focused on them at all.
Yeah. But yeah, JJ mentions Far Cry 6. They might do another Far Cry 6 trailer. Honestly, though, you gotta remember, JJ, that's not a console exclusive. That's Ubisoft, that's third party. Sure. That'll be on Xbox and on PlayStation. So honestly, here's the thing. If Sony is wasting time with non-exclusive third party stuff, that's not a good sign. Not honestly.
Look, let me say this again. If they do not unveil some form of streaming option, and when I mean unveil, I mean just even announcing the idea of it, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem long term for them. All right, they have to be developing something like that now. I'm telling you, I mean, it's not even Netflix is going to crush them if they don't. I mean that.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and the thing, yeah, exactly. And the thing is also, I mean, that's the thing. The worst thing I think they did was they killed the PlayStation View. I think that was honestly we've said this before, right? They were one of the first ones to go through the wall. They got bloodied. They got beaten. It was a great service. Not enough people subscribed to it, but I would try to bring that back. And in terms of like the free games that you get on PS Now, a couple of folks have mentioned this in chat and whatnot. You're not getting massive AAA new games. Like you're not getting what Microsoft's doing when Forza drops day one on Game Pass. Halo's dropping game one on Game Pass, right? Like if they said, hey, guess what? Horizon 2, God of War 5, whatever you want to call it, Ragnarok, God of War Ragnarok, they're going to be free if you have PS Plus, PS Now, then you're talking. They're not going to do that. Well, and they're not willing to if they're not, they're unfortunately
that's where the money is. Like listen, this isn't like a new roadmap. This has just been done with film. Like it's not a new roadmap. What's happening? Microsoft is going to piss off a lot of game companies by doing this, but they understand having a lifetime subscription to Microsoft is worth more than you buying a few titles a year in the grand scheme. We got a lot of people in chat again saying Sony will bounce back. And again, JJ, I know you probably haven't listened to the show for a long time, and I'm not jumping on you. I've been saying for about a year now that I don't think that's the case. I think Sony is in deep cartridges, because I can't curse on this channel. Sony's in deep trouble. All right. And I'm telling you, PlayStation fans, I have nothing. Ray will back me up. I have nothing against PlayStation fans. Nothing. But I'm telling you that Sony is screwing up Royal right now. And they are in deep poop if they cannot figure the way through this. With that said, it is possible for them to do it, but they have got to jump on the stream game or they're going to get crushed by new players in the game. I'm telling you.
I am really curious to see the numbers from MLB The Show on Xbox versus MLB The Show on PlayStation. Right. I'm very curious to see other third-party games that dropped day one on Xbox for free, whereas you had to pay for them on PlayStation, like Outriders, like Psychonauts 2. Right now, my current game of the year. That game was phenomenal. By the way, Lee, if you need something to play with Logan, Psychonauts 1 is on Game Pass. It's like an old school fun platformer. Play that and then play Psychonauts 2 with them. It's worth it. It's like Mario 64 mixed with
I like that.
Tim Schafer. It's Tim Schafer plus Mario 64, basically.
Can I tell you a quick side note about Logan, who starts second grade tomorrow? Honestly, it was funny. He was telling me the other day, he's like, I want to play Streets of Rage again. I said, buddy, listen, there's another game coming, and we're gonna play that. And he goes, is it Streets of Rage 5? And I said, no. And he got all sad looking. I said, it's better than Streets of Rage 5. He goes, what is it? I said, it's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge. And it's made by the same people. He did one of those faces like, and it's like, I know. Good. When's it coming out? No time soon. So we're going to have to wait. But there's other games we can play in the meantime. But he's excited about it.
Yeah. No, it's that's good. I know that's good, and it's great that you are teaching him the ways of gaming and whatnot. But if you're looking for something else, so we didn't plan on having a gaming section today, but we ended up having a kind of an impromptu one.
Right. Well, if I may, before we move out of gaming, because we really just jumped right into this episode. Casey's in chat. For those of you listening to the recording, Casey showed me a game the other day that I wanted to bring up on the show for two reasons. One is I told him I would. And the other reason is that it was hilarious. Casey, if you could type the name of that game that you were showing me yesterday. So, Ray, this is one of those melee games. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It doesn't have a story or anything like that. But the idea behind it is that there's like 5 people in a scenario, and you've seen this, and your job is just to kill everybody else on the scenario. So the scenarios could be like a moving train, and you have to throw them off the train, or you could pick them up and put them into a roadside. And it's just hilarious to watch. One of them. There's this monster comes out with the tentacles, and Casey was telling me that, you could pick people up and stuff. So somebody picked up Casey, so the monster would take him, and the monster grabbed the guy that was picking him up instead and ate him. And it's just
great.
really, really funny. He says his face was sore from laughter. What was the name of the game, Casey? I need that from you. But even the highlights he was showing me was just hilarious. And Ray, this is a game I could see you, me, Casey, and everybody playing. It was called Gang Beasts. Gang Beasts. So
not familiar with that one.
I wasn't either. But he showed it to me, and I was like, wow, this looks really fun, stupid, hilarious. And again, like watching how people take each other out. It's amazing. It's on Game Pass. It's completely free with Game Pass. We will have to check that out. Because Ray, when it comes to Melee games and showing no mercy, you are the king.
Yeah, I don't hold back no matter who the opponent is.
That's what I'm trying to say.
So that could be fun. That could be fun. We'll have to look into that. We'll have to look at that later for sure. But we got a big that concludes. Again, we'll have a full breakdown of what Sony announces tomorrow on next week's episode. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about. We're gonna have that actually lengthened the geek section. It's actually been a shorter geek section this week. Again, we're gonna be focusing more on sports this week. But the big thing, obviously, for geeks is we got some Marvel news. Got a little bit of movie news. What If episode 5 just dropped? Like Lee had mentioned at the top of the show, we literally just finished watching it because it's just been super busy for both of us. But it's the zombies episode. We knew this was coming. They did it very smartly. They took a couple of elements from the zombies comics, basically did their whole own original thing here in What If. The idea is that the zombie virus comes from the quantum verse, which really now sinks in just how much stuff they can pull from the quantum verse. Just everything. Be like, oh yeah, there's a zombie virus there. There's whatever they need can exist.
The TVA is there. Anything you want.
Yeah, exactly. They can solve a bunch of different issues with that super easily. So
I mean, literally. I mean, anything can show up there. Literally.
Yeah. But yeah, so they did a great job with it. Again, another episode with Chadwick Boseman. It's always sad whenever he shows up. I didn't realize Black Panther was going to be in these many episodes. I'm happy he is, but it's always a little sad. But that's also taken, again, a spoiler alert. This is taken right from the comic. In the comic, T'Challa is one of the guys kept alive to be feasted on. But it's Hank Pym and the Wasp, of course, who are very different in the comics than in the MCU. Feeding on him, and here it was Vision and Wanda, which I thought was really a fun,
cute, to say the least.
A cute little twist there. But that's a real moment. And yeah, folks, it's called Marvel Zombies for a reason, because like what's great is that unlike in the zombie comics, they do find a cure. Here, in the comics they don't find a cure. Here they do.
Right.
But up until that point, much like in the comics, everybody dies. Everybody becomes a zombie, and it's a lot of fun, even if it's a little predictable at points how they become zombies. But it's fun. It's just a lot of fun. One of the most fun episodes.
This is one of those episodes, even with the spoiler alert, it's not going to ruin it. I mean, it's a zombie film, so they make fun of themselves. Like, haven't you ever seen the zombie film? What I liked about it was the complete absence of any sorrow from anyone in any sense. There was just mild, like, another one's gone, but they kept it so lighthearted that it was actually quite enjoyable to watch. By far, the best character is Happy Hogan in this entire episode, though. That was
blam, 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 blam.
Yeah, so you got to watch it just for him. Ending is very predictable, but it was really fun. It played a little bit on the Marvel TV shows. I did want to talk about the actual comic book, though, because for those of you out there, if you ever get a chance to read Marvel Zombies, the hero of that is actually Zombie Spider-Man, and it's a really good comic. So in that comic, Spider-Man is a zombie, like Ray was saying, and he has to deal with the guilt of being a zombie. And I won't spoil the comic because it is actually the comic series is way better in terms of a story than this episode. And this episode is just fun.
Yes.
It's just meant to be fun.
This episode was much more like a traditional zombie film, shoot out zombies in the head, et cetera, et cetera. Right. The comic does a great job because, like Lee's talking about, they retain their personalities, but also have this craving for human flesh, which I think was really interesting. Sorry, continue, Lee.
No, it was fine. It was cool. But this episode's just like, it's fun to watch people get killed. And, again, somehow they've managed that balance of, you don't go, oh no, not him. It's just like, oh, it's funny. It was just very, very funny and lighthearted. I wouldn't let my kids watch it, but it's right on the border of, they could probably get away with this, but I'm not going to let them watch it just because it's zombies.
Yes,
it was fun. It was a fun one. If you haven't seen it, it's actually a longer episode, but it feels quicker.
Yeah, it flows very, very well. It does.
And and like I said, they just pick them off one at a time. It's just really funny. And again, I don't want to spoil it too much, but it's insanely predictable, insanely fun. Let's rank them, Ray. Let's rank the episodes. We got 5 in. We could probably do top 5 already.
I think we could do. I mean, I think
episode 2 is clearly number 1.
I think 2, 5, 1, 4, 3.
That's close to mine. It's okay. Mine is 2. I mean, we agreed 2 is the best one so far. I'm actually going 2, 1.
Okay.
5, 4, 3.
Yeah. Okay. So
1
and 5 for us is just flip flop.
Yeah, I really liked the Sharon Carter episode. I just really liked it. And here's the thing: I give it a little more credit. That's what I'm saying. Excuse me. The Carter.
Sharon was in Zombies, so I get why she's just fresh in your mind.
That is why. Yeah. No, the Peggy Carter, Captain Carter. I'll just go with Captain Carter because you went either way on that one. Yeah. I give that one a little more points because it was the lead off episode and it had to do a job and it did its job. So I would have enjoyed that at any point. But if they started with episode 3. I mean, it would have been different. 4 was good and dark. This one was just more enjoyable than last week. Like the problem with episode 4, the Doctor Strange episode, is you leave thinking, and then you think for the whole week of,
yeah.
This one's just like zombies.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? And then you mentioned one had to do a job. One eases people into the idea of what if.
Yes, and I give it credit
just
for that.
A little. Yeah, there's a lot of similar moments, but it's a slight slight variation.
Right.
Whereas then zombies, you get zombies and Doctor Strange in episode 3 with all the Avengers dying. You get massive variations, right? So the first 2 episodes, they kind of like have to ease you into it, and 1 in particular. But yeah, no, I think they did a good job. That's a fair point. I still like 5 more, just because. But that's.
I think. I want to say again, 5 is so lighthearted that it lacks a deeper meaning to me. Like episode 1 had a deeper meaning. So it's okay. We don't have to look. It's super. It's super close. It's not.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Not like we're not talking like 10 points here. It's like a 0.1 difference.
Yeah. So we just did a mini spoiler cast here for What If episode 5. Typically, we'd be doing a spoiler cast for the Marvel movie of the week, which of course, Shang-Chi. And I apologize in advance if I say it wrong. I've been told 7 different ways how to say
it's Shang-Chi. It's
Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi. So
that's how they say it in the actors say Shang-Chi. Okay. So
okay. But we did not see it. I'm tempted to see it maybe at some point, but I'm also kind of because Eternals doesn't come out till November. I'm also kind of like, well, if Shang-Chi hits Disney Plus in October, I could just watch it then.
Yeah.
I don't have that sense of urgency like I had with other Marvel films.
Here's the other thing. This is what I'll tell you, Ray. Look, if the right scenario comes up for me to see it before October, I'll take it. I don't think that's going to happen. The other thing, too, is that I have seen people, I've avoided most posts about it, but I haven't seen any kind of big, like massive spoiler, like, whoa, that happened. So I don't think anything happens in this thing that's going to blow my mind.
It's not as consequential a film. It feels like, I hate to say that, but
it does feel
okay. Like this.
Listen,
it's setting up new characters. It's setting up more new characters.
Basically. People have to break this thing that every Marvel film has to have some massive reveal at the end or in the middle. This is the introduction of a new character. Okay. And that's okay. Again, we're spoiled because most movies now have multiple Avengers in them, right? So this is the introduction of a new character. And again, we felt that with Black Widow a bit too, even though that movie is 10 years late. It was like, oh, where is everybody? And the thing is, it's not, they don't have to do that every time. So that's the first thing that I said. It doesn't seem like to be any massive spoiler. I did want to talk about this. We have to talk about this with all the people listening here, whether you're live or not. Okay. Because this is something I've noticed over the last 10 years and we know it now. So we're at that point with the movie now. Everyone's going, it's amazing. It's one of the best Marvel films ever made. You have to see it. It's great. Right. In 2 weeks, we're going to get it was all right. It was kind of bad. And, they didn't do this and they didn't do that.
We're starting to see that now. I'm getting a lot of people saying it's in their bottom tier. Shang-Chi's in their bottom tier of Marvel films.
What are we going to learn? Every Marvel film that comes out for the first 48 hours, it's the greatest Marvel film ever made. Then it dips to being one of the worst Marvel films ever made. And then it gets its final resting place on the charts of Marvel. Okay. Yeah. And you have to let these things breathe. All right. For example, I've said this before. My favorite Marvel film, if I had to pick just one to watch forever, it would be Ragnarok. right? That's not everybody's. All right. A lot of people like Infinity War, the original Avengers. But my point is these things settle in, and you'll find out where it's going to be. But I never listened to it's the best thing ever. It's the best thing. Ray, it was so good. Ray, you should see Wonder Woman, Ray, because Wonder Woman 2 was so good. I just don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? Oh, the Snyder Cut's the greatest thing that's ever come out in the history of film and cinema. Oh, you guys just don't get it because you're not Snyder fans. And okay, just calm down. Let's be honest. The Snyder Cut was above average. Okay, that's all it was.
It was mediocre.
It was just, slightly above average. It wasn't bad. Yeah. And the only reason it's above average is because, the first one was below average.
Was so terrible by comparison.
So, you have that going for you. But it's just, I just want that to be known. You got to let a movie simmer. Usually you have to see it twice. I think about Endgame, right? Because when you watch Endgame, and I'll watch my language here, but the whole time you're watching Endgame, it's just like, holy be, holy be, holy be, holy, my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Then you watch it a second time. Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, that's pretty cool. Right?
Yeah.
Because the anticipation goes away. That's why we have to see Spider-Man 7 times or, see the Phantom Menace 27 times like I did.
Yeah, no, that's very, very true. You always see more stuff for the second viewing, but it should be said that also that the other leads into our next couple of stories is that it was seen by a lot of people, which is also part of the reason why I'm glad I didn't go this opening weekend. It broke the box office record for Labor Day, $70 million opening weekend, Labor Day weekend. So, I mean, that's a big deal. It's good. It means movies are back for a lot of people. And it means that so much that Sony, who, of course, again, makes all the mistakes in the world and is clearly money driven.
Making Sony mistakes.
They're like, they were so panicked about like a possible recurrence of the pandemic. They moved Venom back a month. And then after seeing how well Shang-Chi did, they now moved it back up 2 weeks. So now the Venom 2 Let There Be Carnage release date is October 1st. Until it changes again. This release date has changed so many times over the past year. Obviously, the beginning of the pandemic, we completely understand why that changed then. But Sony is so clearly so terrified of this movie doing badly. They are so gun shy and so worried about this franchise, about not doing it well, because it feels like Sony has something to prove, right? Disney is clearly doing Spider-Man better than Sony has done since really the Tobey Maguire days, right? So they're really, really worried about how this movie is going to be perceived and how it's going to do well or not well at all. Lee, you saw the first Venom finally. I still haven't seen it. I will see it soon. I'm going to rent it for $3 on an Xbox. So take that, Sony. But yeah, no, it's a big, it's crazy that they're changing the release date again. That's basically the point I'm getting to.
It just shows you that, look, I'm not giving them flack for being cautious. I understand that. But the leadership of do it there, just throw it out there. Like, what are you doing, guys? Come on, stick. This is why people question things that you do. Just going back to the movie again, I'll say this, Ray. Like the first movie, I'm curious if you have the same reaction. The first movie was actually quite bad, but what's his name? Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy. I almost said Holland. Tom Hardy as Venom and as Eddie Brock was very good. So what you do is you have this really great character in a bad movie, which is so weird to say that. So I think what they've done here is that if they can rectify that and put that character in a good movie, and Woody Harrelson's a great actor, I think they've got something here. Now it is rated PG-13 for what that's worth. The animation style looks kind of similar. Andy Serkis did direct this, which I'm actually quite hopeful for. So I'm thinking, look, I think this is easily going to be better than the first film. All right, easily. The first film just was not that good, but Tom Hardy and Venom are so good together. I don't think I have a better example of a great character in a bad film than this. I'm really trying to think about it.
That's a great question. That's a great question to the folks in Twitch, and that's a great question to the folks you listening at home. Feel free to chime in the Facebook group or on Twitter. That's a great question. But because I can't think of one either.
Yeah,
a great character
in a bad film. It happens.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know what I
no,
mean?
for sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I mean, definitely. But I think also there's a lot of trepidation on Sony's part is because we fans, Carnage, and it looks like they're borrowing elements from.
This is Carnage in New York. Totally Carnage.
It's Maximum Carnage, right? It's totally. Maximum Carnage.
Yeah.
And that is one of the, if not the most beloved Spider-Man stories ever. Yeah. Easily for the last 30 years. If they screw this up.
It's a top 5.
No, I mean, like, I don't have a lot of collections or graphic novels anymore. Maximum Carnage is one of those that I have and that I cherish.
Because
right?
it's dark. Like, it's super dark.
It's one of, I mean, it also got turned into one of the greatest video games ever made.
It did.
If this does not capture that, this could really blow up in Sony's face. Like the internet will come down like hell hath no fury. Like the fanboys scorned. And honestly, if Casey's mentioning it's a red cartridge, that's right. It was a red cartridge. I had the Super Nintendo version.
Sega too.
Back in the day for Maximum Carnage. Yeah, and also for Sega. Yeah. If they mess this up, it could kill their ancillary Spider-Verse that they're creating here, because that's how big this storyline is to any Spider-Man universe. So don't mess it up, Sony. Well, it's too late now. It's already been edited and it's about to release. Still,
you know, I gotta give our producer credit. She's been on the mark lately with her comments, and she says, for lack of better words, there will be carnage.
Yeah, there will be carnage.
Which is great.
There will be carnage.
Look,
I mean, I definitely think, by the way, Lee would be Venom. I would be Carnage, by the way.
I'm thinking about it. I don't know. I like Ray, I think you're more of a Toxin. I mean, Toxin's one of the most, listen, Toxin. Okay. I got to explain this now. Toxin.
For those who don't know, Toxin.
Is the offspring of Carnage and Venom.
One of them. Yeah.
And I'm going to save you the story of how that happens. But
there's,
they mature
because we also should mention the Life Foundation. We should mention there's a lot of other. So basically, Carnage. Okay, let me go into the symbiote story here, folks, real quick. Oh no, we're not going to. Don't worry, we're not going to.
In the movie symbiote.
I'm not saying symbiote. I'm not saying that. No,
they said that in the film. I was like, what the hell? Come on, man. It's basic comic symbiote.
One of the big things. For those of you who don't, symbiotes. Now you got me saying it. Symbiotes are a space. There's a race of symbiotes in space.
Yes.
One comes to Earth on a space shuttle from a manned mission, and basically that's Venom, right? It bonds with Spider-Man. Spider-Man gets rid of it because it really starts to take him to dark places. It bonds with Eddie. Eddie's an anti-hero. The symbiote and Eddie both have a mutual hatred for Peter Parker / Spider-Man.
Yes.
And then later on, he reproduces asexually. That makes Carnage. Then Carnage is forced to reproduce asexually, and then you get the Life Foundation symbiotes. There's 5 of those, including Scream. There's a lot of them.
I will tell you this: that they do dive into this heavily in the first film. Heavily.
Oh, good.
Okay, so again, I don't want to spoil it too much, but they address multiple symbiotes in the first film. All right, Carnage not one of them. Okay, but yeah, no, we'll talk about it. I'm actually looking forward to this. Look, this is what I'm going to say. Woody Harrelson as Carnage, Tom Hardy as Venom. You got a lot going for you just with that. All right. So as long as they put the settings correctly, this should be a pretty good film, and good enough that I could see this actually merging with the Tom Holland Spider-Man films at some point. Again, it looks a lot different, but this is what the multiverse is for. JJ's asking how much geek stuff is there. JJ, we're almost done. We got a lot of good sports stuff tonight. So
JJ's a really big sports guy.
Yeah, so are we.
Even though he's a Mets fan, so you can't fault him for terrible taste. But
it's not for me. It's not for me. I'll put my thumbs down. That's what your players are doing. That's not for me. I'm just mimicking.
So last geek story of the day. Speaking of movies, speaking of films, big teaser trailer. And it's a true teaser, right? When Marvel puts a teaser trailer out, it's still it's 2 minutes long. It's basically a trailer.
Yes.
But this was a true trailer. We get a very brief look at Matrix 4.
Two trailers. They did 2 teaser trailers. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, I don't know if I saw the second one. I saw one.
Can I intro this? Because I'm actually really into the Matrix. That was something I really loved when we were younger.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So for those of you who don't know, this is actually kind of weird. Now I do kind of feel a little old. So back in 1998, when the original Matrix was announced, we went on a thing called the World Wide Web, which was actually kind of new back then. All right. And what I mean by that is like you had to go on AOL, but they had a website. And this is actually the first time I ever remember a film having a website, but it's enterthematrix.com. That was how you found out about the film. Guess what's back? Enterthematrix.com is back. And when you go there, Ray, you can choose between the red pill or the blue pill. And each one of those has a different trailer.
Oh, see, that's the problem of getting all your information from Twitter is I only saw one of the trailers.
It's okay.
I don't know which trailer.
It's okay. So you probably saw the trailer with Keanu Reeves.
Yes.
There's another trailer that shows kind of another side. All right. So what I love about him is I have no idea what's going on in these films. We have no idea where these take place, when they take place.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's before or after. I'm going to sneeze. Hold on. Ooh, full recovery. All right. Anyway, I don't know if these are prequels or not. It sounds like that they're setting it up to be after the Matrix Revolutions.
I would hope that.
I hope so too. But
everything.
I mean, the thing with the Matrix is you never really know. I mean, it could take place before those and still make sense that it takes place afterwards. But I got to be honest with you guys. I'm really looking forward to this. I was a big fan of the Matrix growing up. Matrix 2 and Matrix 3 were really not. They were just okay, and they didn't really leave you feeling great at the end. So this is actually a film I'm kind of looking forward to. And I don't think Keanu Reeves would have signed on for this if it wasn't something special. He really was into these films when he made them. And I just don't think he would do his own franchise wrong. And he has a lot more power now than he did when they were made in the.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
I'm looking forward to seeing Neo back. I'm looking forward to see how they've adapted this to the modern time, because those films famously take place at the peak of human potential, which apparently it was, because things have not been much better since then. But
it's been a rough 23 years.
Right. So I wanted to bring it up, Ray, because I love the Matrix. I'm really looking forward to this. The full trailer drops tomorrow when we're recording this. Again, today is Wednesday, September 8th. September 8th. Okay. So in the next episode, we'll actually be reviewing that. So
we'll have some more deep takes on some stuff.
It's probably already out when you're listening to this. So if you want to watch the full trailer based on this discussion, go do it. We'll have a full in-depth thing, but let's get to sports. And obviously, Ray, if you have thoughts on this, please share them. And I know we have a lot of
I mean, look, I'm cautiously optimistic. You know, it's a stance I can't usually take, is that because it's something that could very easily go wrong. But like you said, Keanu doesn't typically jump on the projects unless he has a lot of passion for it. Sometimes sometimes those projects still go awry. Cyberpunk 2077, but you know, again, sometimes that's not his fault, right? There's sometimes things that are beyond his control. At the end of the day, there's still going to be an editor cutting this movie up, and obviously whatever the Wachowskis do.
Right. Well, it's just one. It's just one Wachowski now. His sister did not decide to do it.
I didn't realize. So
it was just one of them. Another really weird thing about this film. So Matrix 4 comes out the day it comes out. I believe John Wick 4 also comes out the same day.
That's right. Keanu's competing with himself.
Competing with himself. And then on top of it, by the way, these are all HBO Max releases and in theaters. So day one releases on HBO Max. The thing with the John Wick film, though, is that there's so many parallels from the Matrix to John Wick, including the actors. I mean, Lawrence Fishburne's in it. So I'm really interested to see. You know, there's been theories that John Wick is the Matrix.
That it's the same universe.
How amazing would, I mean, it's not going to happen, but can you imagine if they just decided that was the way it was going to be, and then they pulled that? But looking forward to the Matrix and John Wick 4. If you guys haven't watched the John Wick films, just wonderful shoot 'em up films. You will leave feeling
the Keanu multiverse is happening. Bill and Ted suddenly comes out of nowhere and saves Neo.
Can you imagine that? What number are you thinking of, Neo? 69, dude. Whoa. So good.
Oh, goodness, indeed. You know, it was also good today. Going into sports now, we got a good sports story to kick things off.
There you go, JJ. You're listening live.
There you go. Today was the induction ceremony for the 2020 MLB Hall of Fame. Of course, it was delayed last year because of COVID, and there was no 2021 class. No, but the writers didn't vote anybody in. I think it's only the 8th time in history.
They're the moral authority on baseball. Great.
Don't get me started.
We had a whole conversation of that.
Yeah, no, it's a shame that nobody got voted in, but it was a good class. led by the original union boss, basically. He hated to be calling that in his life, for the MLB, who really helped bring about free agency, which of course has shaped the game so much. But then there was also Ted Simmons, who of course was a great catcher, voted in by the Veterans Committee, great catcher for the Cardinals and Brewers. Won one American League pennant, but was a great switch hitting catcher. Ted Simmons, who also made a very poignant point about the state of the game today, and basically said the game will adjust. Please start adjusting. Please start adjusting to the defensive shift. Please, 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 please. Basically, of course, mirroring many of the hatred from a lot of current fans. That what kind of this, he kind of took a shot at the state of the game as it is, as well he should have. And good for Ted Simmons. But also, of course, Larry Walker, the first Colorado Rocky introducted into the Hall of Fame, makes perfect sense. Former MVP, obviously, tons of home runs over there in Coors Field, really helped put the Rockies on the map. But of course, the big one, the one they saved for last, the headliner, whose name was chanted throughout, kind of rudely, by the way, for some of these other guys, by the way. Like, I get it, but it's New York. Cooperstown isn't far away from Yankee Stadium. Derek Jeter, right? His name was chanted throughout. Even Michael Jordan, they made a point to. Michael Jordan got his cell phone out and was recording Jeter there, because they had such great respect for each other. Obviously, both parts of dynasties in the 90s. Very good friends. And Jeter gave what was honestly for a guy who doesn't do a lot of public speaking, Jeter gave a great speech, very heartfelt, very warm. Thanked everybody from his family to his friends to his teammates. Kind of riled a couple feathers from a couple of jerks at MLB Network, because he made a point to be like, oh, and by the way, we won. Which the Yankees did. I mean, he said more about it. He's like, this is great. The accolades are great. But the thing that I'm most happy about, when people remember me as, is that I was a winner, that I won 5 World Series. And I think good for you, G. I really wish you were still around, because the team sucks. But I thought it was a great ceremony. I watched it live on my lunch break today. And it was a nice moment for baseball, which is a rare thing we could say nowadays.
Right. Look, this is what I'll say. Doesn't matter what baseball team you root for. You got to love Derek Jeter. There's just nothing not to love about the guy. He has always been the epitome of class in baseball. All right. I mean, I don't know. Actually, I don't know anybody who says bad things about him outside tabloid newspapers. All right. Yeah. What I wanted to say about this,
Mariah Carey.
Yeah. Right. What I wanted to say about this is that, like Derek Jeter, he said one thing that encapsulated everything that's good about baseball and everything that Major League Baseball has forgotten. And I might be paraphrasing a little bit here, but he basically said, all I wanted when I was growing up was to be a shortstop for the Yankees. And he said, I accomplished that dream, and now I'm a Yankee forever. Yeah. That is what baseball is about, really sport for that matter.
That's the romanticism of the game.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what baseball has taken away. Now, again, there's going to be people saying, it's still there. Not for me. And I'll tell you what he said is exactly what they need to get back. We have got to get away from these horrendous umpires. First of all, they're just getting worse.
Yeah.
All right. We've got to get away from Band-Aid fixes to the game. Right. I'm going to say this again. You have the greatest baseball story in the last, 100 years going on right now. And it's still not getting the coverage it deserves. Right now, it's getting coverage. No. I don't want to act like the press is not giving Ohtani what he deserves, but you have a guy leading the league in home runs and as a pitcher, and it's just still not enough of the focus. And I don't understand.
Yeah.
That's the most feel-good story in sports I've seen since I don't know when. And they can't get it. They just can't seem to capture it right, in my opinion. Again, I know they're reporting on it, but they can't capture it. In fact, we got Stephen A. Smith making fun of them. We got, it's just like, what baseball?
Yeah, we got what's his face for Detroit doing a funny voice, making fun of him. Yeah,
and I'll say this too, man. Like, look, it's not his fault. He's been pretty classy too.
He's been great.
Right.
He's been great.
I kind of wish this guy was around in the 90s because it would have been appreciated more. right? Just everyone has an opinion. As Burnham says, I think Casey and I were joking about this today. Again, I can't say what he actually says, but he goes, "What, man? It seems today that everyone has an opinion, and maybe we could all, how do I put this? Shut up." Right?
Yeah.
I didn't curse, right? I didn't curse, just for you. All right.
I know you did good. You did very good. You bleeped yourself. Very good.
I'm very good at bleeping myself. But here's the deal. All right. Is that they have the greatest story in baseball in forever. And they still can't hit the home run, pun intended, with this thing. It's incredible. Yeah. But Derek Jeter, just again, for a brief moment, I was brought back to late 90s baseball before everything became uncovered. And if that's the last memory I have of him, thank God.
Yeah, I mean, again, it makes me sad that he bought part of the Marlins, because I really wish he was like our manager right now.
Yeah, maybe he will.
Like, I wish that they had found a way to bring him more into the Yankee fold, but he didn't want that as part of his career, and obviously it's not like the Steinbrenners.
He didn't want it yet, and I understand he didn't want it because he didn't want to tarnish what he's done there. But if he becomes a really good GM, you never know. Maybe,
fingers crossed, but we'll see. But I think what he's doing down in Miami is very good. We've talked about before, hiring the first female GM in baseball and whatnot. I think they did a very, very good job there. So, but yeah, he's slowly turning that franchise around. They have honestly, I think the Marlins have a very bright future. They made the playoffs in the expanded playoffs last year, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah. It was great to see Jeter again doing what he does best, which is just represent the Yankees with the utmost class, even when a lot of the fans in the crowd are not. Anyway, moving on to a couple of we had some boneheads in the crowd. We got some bonehead stories coming up here before we get into our football preview. Speaking of football, we'll go Europe, go to our soccer story of the day. Yeah. So actually, this is South America. My apologies. Brazil versus Argentina in a World Cup friendly kind of qualifier. Two traditional powerhouses. About 7 minutes into the match, Brazilian authorities ran onto the pitch and canceled the match. I think it was Brazil. I think it was in Brazil. The reason is because the Argentina players did not properly quarantine before the match, and they were deemed a health risk. So the match was immediately suspended, and Argentina was sent back to Argentina. Oh, the times of COVID. So this is one of those things. I'm both impressed that all the health authorities did this, but I'm also like, you waited until the match got underway to do this? So it's good that they did it, and it's good that they're enforcing the rules, but at the same time, you couldn't have done it sooner.
I'm going to guess that someone tested positive and they got the test result. Otherwise, I don't think they're stopping anything, or something else happened for them to take dramatic action like that.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen that in baseball. We've seen guys removed mid-game because the tests don't come back for some reason until it's the third inning or whatever.
Right.
So
that's what I think happened. And we'll probably never know because the governments in those regions don't operate like ours. So, something happened for that to have happened. There's no way that they're leaving that gate on the table because they didn't quarantine correctly, right? 7 minutes into the game. Because that could have been known. But look, interesting. Again, you said at the times of COVID, hopefully that doesn't happen in any North American sports this season.
Yes. Well, there are two teams that leads us down to football real quick. The two teams that are doing everything they can to make sure that they are not to blame. Because again, remember, folks, teams can be forced to forfeit if there's a COVID outbreak in the NFL this season. The Falcons and the Bucks right now, at least thus far, the only two teams, and they have come out and announced that their locker rooms are 100% vaccinated. Everybody on those teams, and that's not to say that there can't be a breakthrough case or anything like that, but these two teams have taken it as seriously as the whole league should, and that's actually kind of sad that it's only two teams. But the Falcons and Bucks, one that's going to probably win the division, one that's going to probably be in the bottom of the division, but both have announced 100% vaccination, and good on them. And I guarantee you that Tom Brady was at the forefront of that, being like, "You all better get your freaking shots because
I believe
I'm not going to lose any games because of this."
Yeah, look, a lot of this comes down to leadership, of putting the team first, in spite of what I might personally believe. I mean, Ray and I are both pro-vaccination. We're not hiding that.
Yeah.
Look, at the end of the day, you got to make your own decision on it, but I don't have to live with it. So I'm glad to see that they did that. You know what the deal is, right? It's a distraction if you don't get it done. And Tom Brady is the guy who doesn't like any distractions. And I bet you that was the thing. It's like, look, you guys want to win another Super Bowl? We can't have any distractions. Let the other teams deal with it.
Yeah.
So good on them. And again, Falcons too. It's impressive. But we'll see what happens on this ongoing selfish, stubborn situation that we're finding ourselves in as we head into a winter again.
Yep. Oh boy, here we go.
Football. What's football?
Yes. Well, let's look forward to football tomorrow. The first game of the season, the Bucks versus the Cowboys. I'm not going to do game by game this weekend, but I will say immediately for this first game, the Bucks should destroy the Cowboys. I'd be genuinely shocked if I think the Cowboys.
You know what? Tom Brady's known for dropping the first game after a Super Bowl win.
That's also true. He sometimes gets off to a slow start, that Super Bowl hangover, as they say.
Right.
But I think the Cowboys defense is not as much. It's slightly improved as compared to last year. And obviously their offense is better with Dak on the field. And obviously we'll find out in less than 24 hours from doing this live on Twitch and recording this. So you'll all know if I'm wrong or not. But I'm going to say right now, Tampa Bay wins 38-20. That's my prediction. I think they're going to blow. I think they're going to come out. And I think the Bucks are going to stomp the boys.
Yeah, look, the X factor is Dak, and I think the Cowboys are going to be pretty amped up to take on the Super Bowl champion. So, again, look, for whatever reason, especially when he was with the Patriots, Tom Brady is kind of known for just dropping that first game after the Super Bowl and finding his way back.
That is true. Usually the first 4 games, he'll go like 2-2 or 1-3, and like
this one's a little different though because it's different team, different scenario. But look, here's the deal. I'm super excited that football is back. For those of you who follow the show, while I'm a hockey guy and I've worked in hockey, and hockey is basically my profession, I am a huge football fan, and I just love to be able to watch a sport and not know everything about it. Not that I know everything about hockey, but you know what I'm trying to say. But Ray, when you look at the NFL season right now, if things stay the same, again, barring injuries, obviously if Tom Brady gets injured, that changes everything. But to me, this is a season of 4 teams. It's the Bucks, the Chiefs, and the Bills and the Ravens. Those are the 4 teams that everyone's got to be looking at. You got the Packers kind of on the outside this year. I just don't think that they have the firepower they need to. And obviously the Rams but I can't believe I'm saying this. The Browns finally are kind of in the conversation.
We'll get into it. I think the Browns actually more than Baltimore, but we'll get into it as we go division. I want to go division by division.
Sure.
This is our big football preview show. You mentioned the Rams. Let's look real quick at the NFC West. This is the Rams, Seahawks, Cardinals, Niners. To me, at the very least, the Rams win this division. Right. The Seahawks have not improved as much as they could. Their defense, their offense. Obviously, with Russell Wilson, he's going to pull some games out of his butt.
They're going to be there. They're going to be there. For sure.
But the Cardinals are improved. The Niners are improved, especially if that kid they drafted, I'm blanking on his name, does what he's supposed to do. You could have all 4 teams in the NFC West be around 500. And competing. Remember, there's 7 teams make the playoffs now, but also it's a 17-game season. But I'm picking the Rams to win the West, followed by Seattle, Arizona, and I think the Niners. Again, I think they're all going to be separated by only a game. It's going to be a very tight division, I think.
Right.
But I think the Niners will end up in last with maybe an 8-9 record.
Right. Look, here's all I'm going to say is that the dark horse in that division is probably the Cardinals, just because of getting Watt and everything going on there. They could sneak some wins out. That's a team. If the Cardinals get off a hot 4-1 start, who knows? Right. But look, the team to beat in that division is the Rams. All right. And I think that's pretty clear. And they've been building back towards this, and I don't want to say any division's easy to pick, but the Rams are a clear favorite out of the division. Barring injury, all of these predictions can go in hell.
Of course. Who knows if Matthew Stafford gets hurt, the Rams are screwed.
Right.
I'm going to say that right now. I think that their defense can only take them. I mean, their defense is fantastic, and will win them some games. But you got to put, as they proved in their stifled playoff run last year, you got to put points on the board.
Right.
You got to put points on the board. But right now, T-minus 23 hours kickoff. The Rams are our pick for the division in the West.
Yes.
We'll move now to the South. This is an interesting division. Again, obviously the Bucks coming off their Super Bowl victory. Every team in this division, in my opinion, got worse. except for the Bucks, who have basically stayed the same. So even though the Saints won the division last year, I think this year the Bucks are going to take the division.
And they have the experience of winning a Super Bowl, which is just massive.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that that's going to be huge. So I think the Bucks win the division, but I think the Saints aren't going to fall off the table as much as people think without Drew Brees. I think Jameis Winston's always had the talent. If he can get his turnovers under control, I think the Saints could still be a contender for a wild card. And I picked them to be second in division, followed by the Panthers, who will improve, but not enough to really contend, and the Falcons, who will continue to wallow in misery. That's my prediction.
Yeah, and here's what I'll say about the Saints. A lot of people saying, well, they have that X factor because of the hurricane, and they're not going to play in the Louisiana Superdome.
The first month they're going to be playing in Texas. Yeah, the first month of the season.
I think personally, next season, that's when they have that push. The problem is, and if you remember this, when they won the Super Bowl, guys, they didn't do that the year Katrina happened. It was several years later. Right. So it's one of those things of, I think you talk about distractions. That's going to be really rough for them. They are going to have the ability to build an identity off of that. And a good coach is going to use this for not just this season, for seasons to come, but it's too much for me to overcome. The Bucks are but the Bucks are my number one team in the league right now. Right. Like they're number one. It's them in Kansas City by a neck. All right. But what's funny, Ray, is that, you go like to last year, no one was counting. I don't know. Tom Brady can do it with a new team. I'm not falling in that trap again. The Bucks are the number one team in the NFL until they're not. And like you said, they have experience. Everybody's like, Tom Brady's a year older. I'm like, the man's not aging. Let's just be honest about it. He has some sort of spell or magical powers that we haven't been able to figure out yet. He looks younger now than he did years ago. Although I always like seeing 21-year-old chubby Brady. When he was like, first in college, I'm in the NFL.
Yeah.
Now Brady. Yeah. By the way, can I please be one of the first people to say? Probably not one of the first, but I would love to see Tom Brady host SNL. I think it has to happen. It would be funny. You know what I mean?
It might happen after his career.
Totally. I would love to see that. He's pretty good with his humor because he's not a funny guy, but he knows how to be funny.
He's got that dry deadpan delivery. Right. Like you can make that work if you write a good enough sketch for him. Right.
He knows how to place himself in a funny situations. By the way, we got to mention real quick while on the Bucks. News came out. Tom Brady not only had COVID, but probably caught it at the parade.
At the parade in Florida. But
dude had COVID, overcame COVID. Then didn't he have an injury too? And now he's back to full strength. So he wasn't even full strength.
Yeah,
he was winning this thing. So the immortal,
he had a knee injury. We talked about this a while ago. He had a knee injury.
It's crazy, man. So the immortal man continues to play. I'm gonna say this one last time, because I don't want to stay on Brady. Your best bet to do right now, fans, is to kind of enjoy the guy while he's still around. There's not many seasons left, so you might as well enjoy the greatness that is Tom Brady, because there's nothing that can stop it now. He could lose every game this season. He's still going to be the greatest of all time. By the way, Ray, quote he said, I read this today, and I think this actually gives some clarity on. You'll actually enjoy this. He did in 2013, Danny Amendola asked him, like, are you going for the greatest quarterback of all time? He said, I'm going for Montana. And Brady came back, and this is in 13, said, no, I'm going for Jordan. So that's what he wants. We couldn't figure out what he wanted. He wants to be the greatest athlete of all time, championship wise.
I was gonna say, like, he'll never reach like Bill Russell. That's impossible.
But Bill Russell's
he's already
Jordan, right? That
was a whole different era and everything. Like, he surpassed Jordan. He got 7. He's got 7 rings.
I know, but he wants more. He wants more. So it's just there's something else there that he's going for, and it's probably the oldest quarterback to throw a touchdown, which he has every time.
Something like that. He's going for every possible record he can have. So So moving from the South to the North, you mentioned the Packers before.
Yes.
To me, by default, it's the Packers division to lose. Yeah. As long as Rodgers is still there. Right. He didn't improve as much as he wanted to, that team. But the Lions are in shambles with Dan Campbell, crazy coach over there in Detroit. The Vikings could be a wild card contender, but they're gonna fight for the division. Them too, they've lost too many pieces to
injury. Another Minnesota Miracle.
Yeah, they're not going to be. And I think the Bears are a couple years away. I think Fields is the answer or will be the answer, but they're a year or two away. He's obviously a rookie. I don't see him doing a Roethlisberger kind of run with Chicago. I think in my opinion, I think it's going to be Packers, Vikings, Bears, Lions. And I think the Packers are the only team from that division that makes the playoffs.
Yeah.
And win the division easily.
If you had to pick a division to say pick the winner, 100%, that's the one I'd pick.
Yeah. So there you go. So, and then of course we move now to the NFC least, which I hate to say it. And again, I still think they're going to get their butts kicked tomorrow. I think Dallas wins the division. If Dak stays healthy, I think Dallas will win the division with 9 or 10 wins. And I think that's it, because I think they'll win 5 of their 6 games against the division. I think Washington is going to take a step back, unless Fitzmagic will keep Washington relevant, but I don't think Washington and their defense. But I don't think Washington still needs a legit quarterback. Fitzmagic only appears 3 or 4 times a year. That's not going to be enough to get him in the playoffs. Your Eagles are rebuilding. It's a fact. Sorry, buddy.
I don't know if I'm going to be a little homer here. I don't know. I think the Eagles are a lot closer than you think they are. And I think injuries are going to play into this with the other teams more than them. But I think the Eagles are far more towards the goal they want to be at than you think. I think the rebuild, like when I look at a rebuild situation, Ray, I say, okay, it's going to take 3 or 4 years for them to come to fruition. And it may very well. I
think it's 2 years. I think it's 2 years.
What I was going to say is this. Look, that very well may be true. I'm not going to deny that. But if Jalen Hurts moves to where he wants to be very quickly and our receivers can actually receive the ball, the Eagles are in a much better position than people think, should that happen, right? And the thing is, I think they're close to. Look, here's the thing. All the distractions are finally gone, right? And Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback. So
he has potential.
And I mean, we actually have good backups for a change, like really good since Foles, but with Minshew and the other guys that we have. But I'm saying that the Eagles are a wild card team to me in this situation, like a dark horse here, right? Like they could be very good, very quick. And if they get momentum, look, you got to remember this too. The year we won the Super Bowl, no one picked us to win the division that year. They got rolling. Yeah. They got rolling. I think they won 5 in a row, or they were 4-1. It was 4-1 after 5 games, and they got rolling. They started to believe. And I think that's possible again, but I'm also an Eagles fan and I'm keeping that in mind, but that's what I would say. That, if Dak gets hurt again, I don't know, man. The Eagles are a team that look pretty healthy to me and ready to go. So we'll see. No more distractions too. That's a huge deal.
Yeah. No, it is a huge deal. Whereas my Giants are an absolute look like a dumpster fire, much like their quarterback. There's a chance everything comes together. There's a chance everything clicks, but I give it 5% chance of that happening. I think the Giants.
You were a win away from winning the division last year. I hate to say that.
With a 6-10 record.
No, I get it.
But here's the thing: the Giants defense is still very good.
Yeah.
And much like a few other teams we mentioned here, like the Rams and the Bears, that'll win us a couple of games like it did last year in Seattle.
Right.
The question is, can that offensive line come together? I say no. Can Barkley stay healthy? I say no. Can Daniel Jones make the jump from year 2 to year 3 like a Josh Allen did? I say no. And unless those 3 things happen, this will be the 31st ranked offense again in the league, scoring 13 points a game. And Giants fans are going to be sick, pulling out what's left of our hair, losing games 16-13, 17-10, 20-17, games that we should win, that with a competent quarterback and a decent offensive line, that any other team in the league will win. And that it's going to be, again, much like the Giants in the mid-90s, where the defense is going to get frustrated and you're going to see fights break out on the sideline, just like we saw in preseason. This team is destined to fail. This team is set up for failure. They did not draft well, again, Gettleman. They did not do Yeah, as Caitlin says in chat, a bad year for me, a good year for the rants that are coming, folks. Get ready. I think the Giants, and again, it could come together. There's a slim chance that everything comes together. Best case scenario, Giants are 10-7, but I think they're going to be closer to 5-12 and probably fighting with the Eagles for the
Well, and if I'm not mistaken, too, we're playing the AFC West this year, right? So, here's some funny questions for you, Ray. Will the Chiefs go 4-0 against our division?
Yes.
So it's all equal. I love them warfare. Chargers, Raiders, and Broncos. It's a toss-up depending on the team you're playing. But look,
Giants have Broncos week 1.
Well, like here's the thing: who you play in that kind of entered conference play is a big deal. But because what happens is if one of our teams beats the Chiefs, let me tell everybody how the NFC East works. By the way, someone will come out and beat the Chiefs, and it'll be like the Giants will come out and beat the Chiefs. It's like that's it.
The Giants were the ones who ruined the Denver season, right. Denver perfect season years ago. The Giants actually have ruined more perfect seasons than any other franchise in history. That's a fact, folks.
But that will be the highlight of the season is beating the Chiefs, right? That's how our division works.
Yeah, much like that 8-8 year where our highlight was the season was beating the eventual Super Bowl champion Broncos.
Right. Exactly. So, but that's how it works. But that's a segue into the AFC if you want, right? By the way,
for sure,
someone's saying we're not talking about the Rams. We've talked about the Rams. We mentioned the Rams. They're like a top 5 team here. What are you talking about? We talked about the Rams right away.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna go as far as to say my predictions for the playoffs.
Sure.
Bucks number 1, Rams number 2 seed.
Yep.
Packers number 3, Cowboys number 4, and then I'm gonna pick your 3 wild cards. I'm gonna say Saints, Seahawks. And then honestly, if things go well, I would say the Cardinals, the Bears, and the Giants might fight for that number 7 seed. But I don't think that's good. I don't think the Giants are going to be there. I legit don't. Moving into the AFC now, unless you have a prediction for this.
No, because my predictions are all hopeful. They're just hopeful predictions.
You would replace the Giants with the Eagles in your predictions for that.
Listen, I think, look, man, I think the Eagle. I mean, this is just fandom. I think the Eagles are in a better position right now than the Giants, but we'll see. Not defensively, but we'll see.
Yeah. JJ in chat says the Rams are going 12-5 at best. Well, I think that's the thing, JJ, with the 12-5 record, I think it could be the 2 seed in the NFC, because I think the Bucks will have a better record. The Packers will be around there.
Right.
I think. JJ, you got to pay attention, man. I just gave you the standings. JJ's asking for me to do them again, folks.
Rewind. Listen to the replay and rewind. No,
listen to the replay.
I'm not betting against the Bucks. It's the same team and their Super Bowl experience, and that now they know they can win.
Yeah.
That's
the thing. I think look, I'll do it for you again, JJ. All right, I know you're a Mets fan, but pay attention, okay? Sorry, I got to take the shots.
Oh my goodness gracious me!
Bucks, Rams, Packers, Cowboys. Those are your 4 division winners. Seahawks and Saints are your wild cards, with your 7 being either the Cardinals, the Niners. Maybe there's an outside chance for the Giants. And in Lee's case, it's to replace the Giants with the Eagles. So
or Washington. Might as well at this point.
I think that's what I said 5 seconds
ago.
Yeah,
I mean, the Washington.
I mean, that's the thing. That's 7 seed. Expanding the NFL playoffs to the 7. No, we're seriously expanding the NFL playoffs to 7 teams per conference.
Right.
That 7 seed is really up for grabs because there's a lot of middling teams that could sneak in there. Oh, the Bears. That's the Bears, not the Bears, not the Niners. It's the Bears. The Bears. That's the
Bears.
I couldn't remember, but yeah. So. Yeah, 7 seed is up for grabs. Moving into the AFC now.
We did the NIFIC.
This is the AFC. We'll start with the AFC West. This is pretty easy. Chiefs are going to run away with the division again.
Easily. Easily.
I think the Chargers are on the upswing. I think they could get second place.
I mean, I don't know, man. Who's the quarterback?
Justin Herbert.
Oh, for some reason in my head, I'm thinking Carson Wentz and the Colts. Never mind. We'll get back to that in a minute.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to that. Yeah. No, we'll get to that. I think the Chargers, I think Herbert, if Herbert improves from year 1 to year 2, I think the Chargers could vie for a wild card this year. Honestly, I think that Chiefs run away with the division. Chargers, maybe a 9-8 or 10-7 record. You're two in your division. Raiders third, Broncos fourth. I think even with Teddy Bridgewater, I think the Broncos will improve, but I think the Raiders will be around 500, and I think the Chargers will be good. The division will be more competitive, but and JJ knows I'm busting him in chat, by the way. But I think the Chiefs run away with the division. I go Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, Broncos. That's my prediction.
No, I think that's a fair prediction, Ray.
Thank you.
You never know when the Raiders could get good.
The Raiders have a lot of talent.
They do. They
could surprise everybody. I don't think so, but they could come out of nowhere and vie for a wild card. But again, Derek Carr has a lot of talent. Will the guys around him show up? I don't know. And I know Chucky there on the sideline, John Gruden, he's kind of getting sick of losing.
Man.
So
come on, man.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But brings us to the AFC South. This division is a mess.
No.
I think the Titans win by default.
I think so.
Like the Titans, because they're bringing everybody back. They got Julio Jones from Atlanta. I think the Titans are going to be very good this year, and the Colts, Texans, and Jaguars are all going to be less. I think they're all going to have 5 wins or less. Like I think you're going to see a huge drop off in Indianapolis because who knows if Wentz can stay on the field.
I mean,
the Texans are still dealing with the Watson. Yeah, like sorry, what was that, Lee?
No, I just said yeah. I mean, it's just like, they don't even know who's going to start right now. It's amazing. I feel bad for Carson Wentz. I'm not gloating about that. It's just like, damn, man, guy can't get a break.
Yeah, no, it's a shame. It is a shame, but unless he's starting, I mean, even if he is, I don't think this is going to be a very good Colts team. And again, the Texans have to deal with Watson. That's going to be a huge distraction. They don't know who. They've already said he's not starting. And then the Jaguars with what's his face? Oh God, I'm blanking on it. Oh, because he's going to be absolutely. He's gone from being the best player in college football, Trevor Lawrence.
You mean
he's from being the best player in college football?
Greatest
somebody's
flow
going to get lost
in football
in
history, Ray. The most beautiful flow.
Yeah, that's what he'll go down as. He'll have the greatest hair since Joe Willie Namath. But other than that, I think where Trevor Lawrence is going to get a reality check in Week 1 in Jacksonville. I think, like I said, I'm going to say it right now. Hot take: the Colts, Texans, and Jaguars, all 5 wins or less. No. I think it's going to be a long season for all of those fan bases and all those franchises. And I think the Titans absolutely walk to a division title. The Jags will have more than 1 win, which is what they had last year, but I think that's about it. Like they'll have maybe 3 or 4, and that's about it. Lee, your thoughts on the South?
No, I mean, look, it's the Titans. The Titans are going to win that division. Even injured, they could win that division.
Yeah. So that brings us to the North, and this was an intriguing division, except for a couple of things. First off, I think the Bengals will be improved as long as Burrow stays healthy. They're still not a playoff contender. They're still going to be a basement dweller, but they'll be better than 4-11-1 with Burrow stays healthy.
This is the most competitive division on my chart.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the Ravens finished 3rd.
Wow. For
a couple of reasons. First off, Lamar Jackson just seems to love getting COVID. He's had it twice now, and he refuses to get back. And I think that I'm honest. I'm joking here. I think this is something that's going to crop up in this season. I think that could be a real liability for them.
Right.
I also think that the fact that they had to sign Le'Veon Bell off the scrap heap, that they've had their top 2 running backs, one tore an ACL, the other blew his Achilles. Both are out for the year. The Ravens are a run-first team, again, led by Jackson. They have no running backs.
That's true.
I think that's going to really hurt them.
Yeah, I mean, they were the toast of the NFL, 2 seasons ago, and
2 years ago they were the team to beat. Now, I think they're destined for a 3rd place finish, and then you have the Steelers and the Browns. And I'm going to say it. Look, the Steelers are going to be good again with Roethlisberger coming back. Everybody renegotiating their contracts, and you got You got the T.J. Watt, JJ's brother, and all the other Watt brothers. Derek, the fullback. You got Pittsburgh's going to be good. I think the Browns, everything is really going to click for them this year in a big way. I can't believe I'm saying this, but that's a very talented team that everybody's basically coming back. I think the Browns are going to edge out the Steelers and win the division. I think the Steelers will be set. I think the Steelers could probably still get a wild card, but I think the Browns are your division winner there.
Well, here's what I think is that I'm going to give the Ravens a little more credit because I think the Ravens are incredibly balanced and well coached. But it comes down to one player. It comes down to Lamar Jackson. And if he can repeat a MVP level performance like he had in 19, they're going to win that division. But that is a tall order. But look, we'll see what happens. I think that team's also hungry to win after the last couple of seasons. So I'm actually picking the Ravens to win that division, but we'll see. I think your thoughts are. Yeah, I think your thoughts are good too. Again, look, man, in this division, unlike any other division, small things can completely shift that entire division.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's what I'm saying. This is a hard one to pick. I'm just kind of looking at the balance of it, and I think the Ravens are the most balanced team in that division.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, it's going to be fun watching the Steelers, Ravens, and Browns.
It's what the
fight
NFC East used to be. Fun.
Yeah.
Years ago.
I mean, and that's the thing too, and that's why I don't think actually whoever wins that division is going to be very highly ranked, just because they're going to be beating up on each other the whole year.
Right, but like teams like that win the Super Bowl sometimes, and
that's true. They will be battle tested and ready and rip roaring to go.
Like I always said that, and we saw this last year, man. The first place team in the league is not always the one that's going to win. I mean, bye weeks are very important. They're very important for health, but they don't always help you win. All right.
Well, especially now too with the 17 games, right? So
it's
going to be interesting to see.
That will be fun. Any division, any AFC North division game is one you're going to want to watch for sure.
Yes, for sure. That is prime. You're going to see a lot of prime time games, a lot of flex games coming out of that division
easily.
And that brings us to the AFC East, which
the Afc East
should be fun to watch. But I think
we know who's winning that.
It's pretty. Yeah, it's the Bills' division to lose. Like the Bills, Josh Allen, especially if he continues to mature. He made such a big jump from year 2 to year 3. If he has even a small jump from year 3 to year 4, he's going to become. He's in the upper echelon of quarterbacks. That defense is still good. He's got some weapons up there. I think the Bills win the division. I think actually the division shakes out the exact same way as last year. Bills 1. Dolphins 2, Patriots 3. You don't know what you're going to get out of. You don't know what you're going to get out of the rookie Mac Jones now as the quarterback, but you also know what you're going to get out of what's his name, Zach Wilson in for the Jets. But I think it's pretty obvious to me that the Jets are going to be the bottom dwellers again. They might get like 6 wins or something, right? Like they're not going to be.
I mean, they're dark horse.
As bad as last year.
They're a weird dark horse. It just comes down to quarterbacking and coaching. I mean, they just if they can figure it out, like. Look, they're not going to win the division. They're a dark horse in that sense of, are they going to surprise people? That's it. Right.
And you can say that about every team. You can say that about the other 3 teams in that division besides the Bills, I think.
Besides
if Tua has a big improvement, like.
Right. Well, here's the thing about the Bills, just going back to the Bills and why they should walk away with this division is they look hungry. Like they look hungry.
Yeah.
The moves they're doing, they're going for it. Like you said, I think Allen got a new contract. I mean, he's got nothing holding him back. Like they just look like they're going to win the Super Bowl. And Ray, look, I think they're, like you said, I said this in the beginning, they're a top 4 team in the league. Like this is not just like a division. This is a team that could win the Super Bowl. So it's just, like I said, they're going to win it, with the Jets. I mean, Jets are the Jets. Maybe when Gary Vaynerchuk owns that team, they'll have a chance of winning. And then,
I mean, look,
the Patriots should have a better season too.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. What quarterback play are you going to get out of the division? The Bills, it's pretty predictable as we got some Bills Mafia here now in chat. Be careful. Don't put yourself through a table here until after this show.
No, please do it. Please do it. That's good for us.
But, I mean, look, if the Jets hit with Zach Wilson, if the Patriots hit with Mac Jones, I think it could be fair to say that both those teams will add to their win total from last year. Yeah. If Tua can make a jump from year 1 to year 2,
I think we've gotten enough Tua Tagovailoa. I think we can say his name.
Tagovailoa, I think that.
No, you remember remember last year we couldn't even 2 years ago we were like, how do you can't even say this?
That's why I just keep saying Tua.
Well, I think we said all right, a couple years from now when he's in the league, we'll all be able to say his name.
Yeah. We're getting there. But I think it's Bill. Again, I said it again. They might have a couple more wins under their record, but I think it's Bills, Dolphins, Patriots, Jets. I think that's how the division shakes out. And I think the Bills, are going to fight with the Chiefs for the 1 seed.
I can't count out
lost
Belichick.
lead. Or you think? Oh, you froze for a second there.
Oh,
buddy.
I'm still
Sorry.
here. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I hear you. Yeah, we lost you for a second, but I lost you. I lost you for a second anyway. But you're back.
This is what I said. I said that I have not lost faith in Bill Belichick, and I think the Patriots are going to be second in that division. I think that counting out Belichick is a major mistake, and I think he absolutely has something to prove this season. And I would not be surprised if the Patriots are fighting for that division, although I don't think they can overcome the Bills.
Yeah.
But Bill Belichick and the Patriots,
yeah,
I can't count them out.
And I could definitely see the Dolphins regress. I could definitely see the Dolphins regress. So it could happen, but I'm saying right now, Bills, Dolphins, Pats, Jets. I think the division will be a little tighter than it
Bills,
was.
Pats, Dolphins, Jets. So I'm switching those two teams.
Yeah, so it's just a flip to 2 and the 3. Yeah. So now for playoff picture, this will get an interest. I think the Chiefs and Bills are going to fight for the 1 seed again. I do believe the Chiefs do get the 1 seed again. I think it's going to be Chiefs 1, Bills 2, the Titans 3, because they're going to get fat on the rest of the division because that division is so bad. I think the Titans go 6-0 in that division. And I think that's going to make it easy for them to get like a 3 seed and host a playoff game. And then I think you'll have the Browns will be the 4 seed. Wow. And then I think Steelers 5. I say Steelers 5. I'm going to say right now, I'm going to say Chargers 6 and Dolphins 7. That's your AFC playoff picture. That's my prediction.
You have the
Chargers
Ravens.
6, Dolphins 7.
You have the Ravens not even making the playoffs.
Ravens not even going to make the playoffs. In fact, it's the wild cards are going to be Steelers, Chargers, Dolphins. That's what I'm predicting for the AFC.
Wow. Yeah. No, I have the Rangers. I have the Ravens in my because I'm ready for hockey season.
Hockey preview in 3 weeks, Lee. 3 weeks.
I have the Ravens making the playoffs, probably in a wild card spot, if not division winners. So that's fair. I would say. Yeah, I don't think the Ravens are going to miss out this year. Although your logic is sound. But look, here, folks, the same thing as always. Like I agree with you with Kansas City 1 and Bills 2. But like if Mahomes goes down, that could flip really quick.
Yeah, again, we're 22 hours and counting to kick off. There could be easily any injury could derail any of these guys' season. Same thing with the Ravens. If Jackson goes down, then that team's in trouble. And same thing with if Josh Allen gets hurt, the Bills are probably in trouble. It's going to be again, not wishing this on anybody. I hope everybody stays super healthy. We want the best level of football possible, but it's also a realistic part of the business. Injuries happen in every sport, and it's how those teams react and adapt. And I think some teams are better handled at that than others. Easily. The quarterback position is so important in football nowadays. If any quarterback goes down, aside from maybe the Bears with Andy Dalton, if he goes down and Fields goes in, they'll probably do the exact same team.
Or the Eagles.
You're pretty much screwed. Exactly. Or the Giants in 1990. It happens. Honestly, if I'll say this right now, if Daniel Jones goes down and Glennon comes in,
that'd be amazing.
The Giants might be better. I like Mike Glennon. I like him as a quarterback. I always have. I liked him in when he was with the Raiders. I think he's very underrated, and I think he's a huge improvement over Colt McCoy as the number 2 quarterback on our depth chart. So I wouldn't mind. I'm just saying. I also would not be surprised if Daniel Jones got hurt again, because that's just the way his career is shaping up as well. Unfortunately, I said he was going to be he's a dumpster fire. He's terrible. But yeah, lots of rants coming this year, folks. But that's our football predictions, folks. We'll see if we're right come about 17 weeks from now. So
in 2022.
That's right. The calendar year will have changed by the time we know how accurate this all is. So
thank God football.
So that brings us. Wow, I forgot. We got.
Should we predict the Super Bowl? Should we do it, or do you not want to do it?
I don't want to predict the Super Bowl because the easy predictions: Bucks, Chiefs again. I would love. Would you want to see that? I wouldn't mind seeing that again. No.
I would mind seeing Bucks Bills. I would like to see the Bucks and Bills.
You know what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say Bills Rams.
Ooh.
Bills Rams is my Super Bowl prediction, and I'm going to say right here, that Bills will win their first Super Bowl ever.
Wow, there you go. Look, I'll say this too about McVay. The man is a football genius, and he's got to be hungry. He has got to be hungry after his Super Bowl loss.
Oh yeah.
And he has not. He almost got fired last year. I thought he was going to get fired last year. You know what I mean? So
well, this is his last chance. If Stafford's not the solution,
right?
The Rams haven't had a first-round draft pick in 8 years,
right?
Right. If Stafford's not the guy to get him over the hump, I think McVay's done.
Yeah,
I do. I legitimately
do. He is a genius, though. But we'll see. I'm going to say this again. I think people, Ray, this is my ultimate dark horse, which is really weird to be saying that, is the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
I think Bill Belichick has something to prove, and I think that counting him out as the football genius that he is a major mistake. So I would not be surprised if the Patriots slip themselves into a wild card spot and then do very well.
Yeah, I just don't think with a rookie that there are. I mean, not just crazier things have happened, but I don't think that they might. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, no,
we'll see what happens.
That's why they're a dark horse. You don't know.
Yeah. So Caitlin wants our record predictions for the Eagles and Giants. I said, Caitlin, like I said, the Giants could be anywhere. Be anywhere between 5-12 and 10-7. So you know what? I'll say instead, I'll pick the middle ground. I'll say 7-10. Lee, your Eagles, your Eagles.
Yeah. Oh, Ray.
7-10, third place in the division. That's what I'm saying.
I'm trying to think here. This is actually really hard. I don't know, 8-9.
Yeah, I don't. No, it's
tough. It's a tough one.
It's going to be a long year for our teams, I think.
Yeah, I don't think we're over 500. I think we're going to be right around 500. What's funny is I think you can't go 500 anymore.
No, you can't. No more 500 records. Yeah.
Remember the Cowboys used to go 8-8 like 4 years in a row.
Yes.
That's
why an NFL added that game was just to break the record of the Cowboys with all those 8-8 records. That's all it was.
8-8.
Until last year, when they went 6-10. That's because we broke that ankle.
I could see the Eagles splitting with our division every game.
Well, I always assume and you know this about me. I always assume a 3-3 record in the division. I always assume that.
Right. It's just it's tough. That's a tough one, Caitlin. In previous years, I would have been more confident about that, but I don't know. I'll say 8-9.
I'll say 7-10 for the Giants, and third place.
17-0.
So,
Super Bowl.
I mean, look, you want me to be crazy? I'm looking at my schedule. I'm like, we'll beat everybody except for 3 teams. We'll be 14-3. No, that's not. No, like I'm not that kind of Giants fan. As folks who watch my stream regularly know, I'm a pessimist.
Caitlin says noted. But Caitlin, I can't tell you that this year more than any other year, I have no faith in our predictions with the NFC East.
You never know, like this whole, especially with this, who knows how the 17th game is going to play into things. Right, it's going to be a weird year, I think. I think weird things are going to happen in the NFL this year.
I'm sorry to go back to it, but I did predict the Eagles to win the Super Bowl in 17-18. And even after Wentz went down, I remember when Wentz went down, I said, hey, man, here's what they have to do. And they did it. So that was
we talked about it. We talked about it. We talked about that. I called him Hostetler. It's the Hostetler effect.
Well, now it's the Foles effect.
Well, okay, but that's fair. That's fair. I'll say Foles has had a better career than Hostetler, but
right. I know what you're saying.
For those who don't know, by the way, whenever I call that Jeff Hostetler, people forget Phil Simms got hurt late in the year in 1989 to 1990, where the Giants won the Super Bowl 25. It was Jeff Hostetler who was the quarterback of the Giants those last couple of regular season games, and then took them through the 3 games in the playoffs. So,
Ray, this is all I'm going to say. This is all I'm going to say around this out. I am ready for cold weather and pigskin. I'm ready to go. I'm ready for football to be back.
I got about a month away before the weather starts to finally cool off.
Here. It's
95 today.
Football and hockey. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, we've got it's going to be an interesting season. And of course, we'll be breaking it down every week here on Geeks Select Sports. Folks, it's going to be a year full of Ray rants. I got a feeling. Before we go, we got one more topic. By the way, we got one more topic. A lot of wrestling. We're talking about a lot of wrestling on our page as well lately. This was a great weekend. This was a great weekend for wrestling because AEW put on their All Out pay-per-view. And I admit this is the first time in years that I dropped $50 to watch a pay-per-view. I think like the last time it was like a Royal Rumble like that. 10 years ago. Like I dropped I dropped $50 to watch this pay-per-view, and I have never felt that good dropping $50 on a wrestling event afterwards. AEW is consistently not only giving fans they're giving great wrestling. They're giving the fans what they want, yes, but they're doing it in the most cohesive way possible. They are telling amazing stories. And I predicted this. It's actually on the page. You can look at the time. I predicted it. I went 8-2 in my predictions for the show. It's not about the predictions. It's about how they got there. I would argue that one of the biggest points of the show was the return of CM Punk. I would argue that might have been the worst match of the night. It was okay. Don't get me wrong. It was more of a slow-paced psychological match. Obviously, it's Punk's first match back. He's shaking off rust again. We're recording this as AEW Dynamite's being taped. I'll watch it later. I'm recording it. So I don't know what happened tonight. But the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, came back. They got Adam Cole from WWE. They got Ruby Soho from WWE. And by Bryan Danielson, obviously Daniel Bryan, who's Daniel Bryan in WWE. They got 3 of the biggest free agent wrestlers on the market to come in, make an immediate impact. Ruby Soho wins the 21-woman Battle Royale to become the #1 contender for Dr. Britt Baker's women's title, who put on an amazing match as well, by the way, with Chris Statlander. Like, it needs to be said, like, a lot of folks ragged on the AEW's women's division compared to WWE. I would argue they're more even than you think at this point, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that Britt Baker is one of the best women's wrestlers I've ever seen. I'm saying that honestly. I've seen a lot over the years. Britt Baker, what she does out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which I think is great, by the way, even though I hate Pittsburgh, but I think what she's done, and she's really embraced her. Yeah, it's fantastic. She's one of the best women's wrestlers I've ever seen. Like, it's absolutely fantastic. Then you had easily, to me, in any wrestling promotion, what I thought was the match of the year, what basically became a tornado tag, the tag match in a steel cage, the Lucha Bros versus the Young Bucks. When I said, and then at the end when Penta El Cerro, who of course is one of the Lucha Bros, when his 3 daughters run to the ring crying because they're very young and they still think it's real, and Penta got busted open, and him holding the title and hugging his girls, I teared up. I admit, it was one of the best things I've seen in wrestling. It's one of the best years I've seen in wrestling. One of the things, and because it was natural, you could tell it was completely unscripted. Right. Like, but again, they were so young that they don't know that it's not real, and him carrying them off into the locker room with their Uncle Ray Phoenix. Honestly, one of the best. They put thumbtacks on the bottom of one of their shoes, the Young Bucks, and then did a super kick. Like, it was amazing. AEW is consistently delivering, and it's what prompted, if you haven't heard, the emergency meeting at WWE yesterday morning from Vince McMahon. Because I think WWE realizes that they took these guys way too lightly, and they are paying for it. Because on the dirt sheets, and Dave Meltzer, and Busted Open, and every other major wrestling pontificator out there is saying, Mick Foley, the hardcore legend, Mick Foley went on Twitter and did a video and said, WWE, this is literally, you have a problem. Right. He said it. Because he said, if I'm a major talent in wrestling right now, I don't have faith in WWE handling me right, and I'm going to AEW. It's different than what WCW did. WCW bought everybody. People are going to AEW because it's better wrestling. It's better wrestling. It's a better show. with better talent, and they're telling better, more cohesive storylines. And Vince McMahon is crapping himself in Stamford, Connecticut. And that's why he called an emergency meeting. WWE can bounce back. We've seen it before. But boy, oh boy, are they in trouble right now? Are they on, not financially, again, Disney might buy them, there's that whole thing, but they are on their heels from a product standpoint because AEW is eating their lunch, in my opinion.
So I'll say this. I don't think that McMahon's crapping himself, but I do think they know there's a war coming and they're preparing for war. The war's been coming for a while, and I think now the real shot has been fired, right? The offensive has begun on AEW's part, and it looks like WWE, because they are playing defense, right? So the war has begun. And we knew this was going to come, Ray. We knew this war was coming. We knew this was inevitable. Right. So I'm excited that it's finally here. Mm-hmm. I don't think WWE is going anywhere. I think that what happened here from a business standpoint, I like the business side of things, is I think Vince, unfortunately, this is not really anything he could have prepared for. I think he dumped a lot of money into the XFL. And I think that left them really financially, what's the word I want to use here?
They were reeling a little strapped.
Right. So again, what happened, for those who don't know, that, he created the XFL. He absolutely used WWE money to do that, even though he said he wasn't doing that. COVID hit, XFL had to fold. They probably took a massive hit. And then on top of that, they took the hit they had to take when they couldn't get their people in the buildings to watch WWE matches. And AEW very, very smartly picked the exact right time to begin creating what they were creating. So look, it's like a war. It starts with a massive offensive. This was the Pearl Harbor. You know what I mean? That this was the first shot. I'm not saying that AEW is Japan or America, by the way, in that scenario. I'm just saying that the war has begun. And look, WWE knows how to go to war. So they're not winning the war right now. It looks bad, but I don't think they're going anywhere. And if Disney acquires them, watch out. Because that's going to be the capital they need to really reel people back. And let's be perfectly honest, Ray. I do agree with what you're saying on the better wrestling. I do agree with you on that. But money is that's what's going to really decide who wins this thing. And whoever has more money can make better decisions and get better wrestlers. That's what it's going to come down to at the end of the day. All right.
Well, and that's the thing though, is you got to remember though too, Tony Khan has very deep pockets. He is the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Like he's not a poor man either.
Absolutely. Look, I'm just saying, I'm not denying that, but you put that up against Disney, there's no comparison.
Well, now you're,
that's my point, is that this is going to come down to money. Look, if AEW ends up getting the money, then AEW is going to have the upper hand in this, but wrestlers will go where the money is. All right. That's the truth. It doesn't matter how good or bad the wrestling is. Now that's what the fans decide, but the fans will still go. All right, because last I checked, WWE is still selling out. The arenas are going to. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. This is good for business. It's good for the wrestling business, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, is it needs to be said, is that and this was brought up. I've heard like guys like Bubba Ray Dudley say this, and like other former professional wrestlers, where it's WWE has become a good intro to wrestling, right? Like for kids, like lately, if you wanted to get Logan into wrestling, I would tell you, watch WWE, don't watch AEW. AEW is more skewed to the adults, more skewed to guys like me who grew up in the Attitude Era, right? It's an extension of that kind of wrestling. So there's some blood, there's some guys getting busted open. So like I would say, if you wanted to get Logan into wrestling, you got the crazy characters over at WWE. You got RK Bro, which is the odd couple of Randy Orton and Riddle. Yeah, I'm Riddle. I'm former U.S. champion, and I wear flip flops to the ring.
Yeah, I don't want to get Logan into wrestling. I think that would be a horrible idea right now with where he's at intellectually.
Fair enough,
right? I think
I'm just saying.
I don't want him doing a DDP on his sister. So it's just
oh my goodness, a DDT or a diamond cutter. Or...
I don't want him doing any of those moves to me. So I
could see Logan trying to do an RKO out of nowhere on
I could see him jumping off the couch onto my back and throwing my back out and be like, "Gotcha, Daddy!"
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
One day.
Caitlin, remind me when I come visit over the holidays to watch wrestling with
No,
Logan.
like I said, I didn't get into wrestling really till I was in high school, and unfortunately, I got out of it right before college, or right in college. But that was the golden era for us, and it's a time thing for me. I'd actually like to see some of this AEW stuff. I just have not had the time, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you get a chance, I mean, I would definitely. I mean, Dynamite's only 2 hours, unlike Raw, which is still 3 and bloated, and it's been great. It has been a wrestling renaissance, and like you say, like competition is going to make things better, and I think it's going to make WWE make some changes. And I'm looking forward to it because it's not like I want WWE to fail.
No,
like I love WWE. I love wrestling.
Rising tide lifts all ships. That's what's going to happen here.
Yes. Hopefully.
The tide's been low for a while. Let's just be honest about it.
Yeah, without any real competition. I mean, the real competition for a while was Ring of Honor, really. And not a lot of folks were watching it because it's really hard to find on TV. And again, what AEW is doing, being like bringing guys from New Japan, bringing guys from Impact, sending his guys to smaller places like GCW. It's really helped them to grow and really become a legit contender, where in the ratings, Dynamite is pulling Monday Night Raw numbers now. And that's a big deal on Wednesday. So that brings us to our that's it for wrestling. That's it for the sports section. As this was going to be a shorter episode, but
that's okay.
But yeah, it turned into our
it's
football
not that
preview,
short.
Of course,
we're coming up on an hour 40 here. So
that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, I thought it was going to be a shorter episode, but it's about going to be about average length. So, our question of the day, we touched upon it earlier, and we just figured we're going to go with it. Lee brought up good characters in bad movies. This is actually a great question, one that I'm having terrible time thinking of.
Oh, when I start jumping
thinking of an answer,
you'll have some. You'll agree with a lot of mine.
Right. So we'd love obviously to know what you guys think, but Lee, let's hear what you think first.
Well, look, let's start with some of the low-hanging fruit, right? And the thing is
right.
That what's happening is the reason why you're having a hard time with it, and most people are, is because the movies are so bad. You don't think about it, right?
Yeah.
Like a low-hanging fruit, Diana Prince, Wonder Woman in Batman versus Superman. She was awesome. Gal Gadot was awesome in that film. The movie sucked, right? But her as Wonder Woman, she was quite good. You could get behind her. That's one. Quicksilver in any of the X-Men films. Especially in Apocalypse or in he was there. Even Days of Future Past, he kind of stole that film. Although Days of Future Past was a very good film. Apocalypse, I liked it. A lot of people didn't. He was a star in that. So that's one of them. I mean, Sabretooth in X-Men Origins. Right? Go ahead.
Yeah, Liev Schreiber's Sabretooth. Yeah.
Yeah, he was really good. Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed that one. Here's one that I make fun of all the time, but Sandman in Spider-Man 3, all right, was actually a pretty good character with some strong development. He had a good reason for doing what he was doing. The movie was just so bloated and horrible that he got lost in it. In fact, I think I said this a long time ago, Ray, that you could take him out of the film and it still makes sense. Anytime you could take a character out of a film and it still makes sense, it's a problem. It's a major problem. All right. There's not one line of dialogue that should ever been just thrown away. You can take a whole character out of that film. Right. Mm-hmm. So those are some just right off the bat. I mean, those are mostly comic book films, to be fair. Right. Here's another one. Harley Quinn in the original Suicide Squad. She's really good. The movie was just okay though. Right.
Yeah.
So those are the ones I think of, when I look at superhero films, I get like one of the people didn't like the movie Solo. I really enjoyed Solo. I didn't have any problem with Solo. I think it was.
Yeah, I didn't have any issues with it.
It was marketed horrendously, and it came out at the wrong time. It should have absolutely been a Star Wars release in the winter. But Lando Calrissian, was awesome in that.
Right,
Lover was awesome in it.
Yeah.
So it exists, right? It exists. There's far more bad characters in good movies.
Right. Yeah.
And characters Tom Hardy as Venom in Venom.
Right. Obviously, which is our discussion of that is what triggered this question.
I'm actually excited for you to watch that because, like I said, he's so good that you can make it through it, but you won't rewatch it. And again, you'll roll your eyes at everything outside. You're gonna sit there being like, okay, like bring back Venom, please.
Yeah,
he's in it a lot, so it's good. But those are my picks if I had to pick superhero films.
Yeah, no, those are good examples. Honestly,
I mean,
I
Ray,
can't.
You know what might make it easier?
Really drawing a blank.
You know what make it?
Sure.
I'll help you out here. Why don't you do great characters in bad video games? Because like that might be one that's a lot easier. Like there's been games I've played in the past where like I really like this. You told me too when you played Cyberpunk. There were a lot of great characters in that, but they just disappear after a short amount of time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they did a terrible job fleshing out a lot of those characters. They did a terrible job with that in general,
right.
With a lot of that game.
There
have been.
There's a lot of games that
just too.
Yeah, you got to think about a game you went through that you didn't want to go through, but some character made you keep doing. Made you keep going to see the end.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. There's been bad Zelda games.
I mean, you finish a bad Zelda game just because it's Zelda, right? I mean, that's the thing. Like, I was not a fan of Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons, but you finish it because I did not like Majora's Mask.
Every once in a while, I love that game. Like, why? Well, it's so fun. There's a time.
And I played the remake of Link's Awakening too. And I'm like, that's a middle of the road Zelda. I get why people love it, but like for me, I'm just like, It's like it's like 10 on the top 10 list. Like it's mind you, there's only been 18 Zelda games, but like
what's your number one?
So it's like right in the middle of the pack.
What's your number one?
Number one is A Link to the Past. Link to the Past, Ocarina, Link Between Worlds, then Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. That's my Zelda top 5.
So Breath of the Wild doesn't make your top 5.
No, Breath of the Wild I think is 6. I do not. Breath of the Wild does not crack the top 5 for me. It Fair is. Enough. In a bad way. You got too much peanut butter in my chocolate. They borrowed a lot of elements from a lot of other games.
Yeah, well, the open world kind of almost killed it for me. In the sense,
I loved all the little temples, and the little puzzles each one brought.
Shrines,
Yes, the little, but it. I don't know. I applaud Nintendo for never being afraid to take a chance or try something different, but yeah, I was going to say, well, here, a bad character in a good game, because it's not a bad game. It's still a good game, Breath of the Wild. What's his name? Rudo, the flying falcon guy from Zelda Breath of the Wild. I can't stand him. I hate that character.
How about Hulk in the Avengers game?
Yeah.
Because the Avengers game is just
that was a good.
There's a lot of Hulk is fun.
Yeah.
Right. Like I always like being Hulk.
Hulk is
or
fun.
How about Kamala Khan in the Avengers? Awesome character. Character. Great character development.
They did.
In a mediocre game.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very good point. It's a very, very good point. Those are some good examples for sure. But yeah, I can't think of much more off the top of my head. But we want to know what you think. Yes. So by all means, please comment below. Comment here on the Facebook channel. Comment at us on Twitter. On all that fun stuff.
Instagram.
But yeah, I think as my internet is limping along, I think now is a good time to
cancel the show.
We're not canceling it. We're not canceling it. The show's going to continue
after episode 121.20. We'll cancel.
Okay, so 12,120.
I don't think we're gonna make it that far. No,
I don't think we're gonna make it that far either.
Our children.
I have some.
Hi, I'm Logan.
Our children's children, maybe.
This is Draymond, and we are the geeks who had fathers who like sports.
Yeah, our children's children.
Hey, Draymond, remember the last baseball season in 2057? Yep.
Yeah. Oh, why did Great Uncle Ray always like that sport? It was slow and stupid,
it's also what killed him. God rest his soul.
Yeah, he went on that crazy murder spree at Yankee Stadium. Yeah. Yes.
Ray, I'm in Philly, sunny Philadelphia. I can't be there. Oh my God.
Yeah. 31B was here in chat,
or an earthquake, or was it flooding waters of the Pacific? No, it was the Yankees. Yeah. Yeah, the Giants.
It was the Yankees.
Yeah, that's how we wanted to go.
So on that note, have a great rest of your evening, everyone. If you're here watching us live on Twitch, if you're listening to us after the fact, we of course appreciate you.
Hope you have a great episode next
weekend,
week. A lot of reveals coming next week.
A lot of stuff. We're gonna talk about the first football games of the year. We got a lot of reveals. Like Lee said, next week is going to be a huge episode. 31B with the donating bits here in Twitch chat. Thank you so much, buddy. Good to see you. Back to baseball here for the Twitch folks. We'll be back to baseball tomorrow night. We got a fun new game Friday coming up as well. So we got baseball, MLB The Show 21.
What game? Do you unveil the game on the podcast, or do they have to wait?
It depends. It depends on how far I progress. I'm playing a game right now called Fist Forged in Shadow Torch. As Keaton gets dab. It's a Metroidvania. If I'm 15% of the way through it, if I don't finish that, if I finish that before Friday, that will not be there. Yeah, Monkey, of course, now making fun of the Yankees. Angry Monkey, thank you, buddy. I know they're terrible. Thank you. So you missed. It's not, hey man, you're 2 hours late, man. I'm sorry. We could have done a whole rant, but we got to wrap the show. We'll do a quick post show. But for Lee, I'm Ray. Thank you so much for listening to the show. Again, be sure to join us live every week on twitch.tv/RayCarSolo on Wednesdays, so you can see the post show that we're going to do right now. But until next time, good night, everybody.
Subscribe.